Behind this screen is a project I've been working on for several months now. It used to be my home office. Now it's a dedicated game room. Getting in there on a budget was tricky, so I figured I'd share what I came up with to see if it might help anybody else out, and maybe also start a conversation on how to make it better. Let's see if I made my Save versus Justin. I haven't put out a video in like 2 years now, but that doesn't mean I haven't been gaming. In fact, one of the reasons I stopped making videos was because I felt like it was cutting into my game time. But things have changed a bit for me, and I've had some time to dig into some side projects. One of those was this goal of creating a dedicated game space to make gaming more awesome, and eventually to support hosting an after-school D&D program. Getting there took a while, but just recently I wrapped up my first 8-week after-school program, and I'm learning a ton. I thought some of you might be interested in going on this journey with me and seeing what I learn along the way, so I turned the camera back on. For years we've been gaming at our dining room table like most people do, and that's been great. We played at a big table, plenty of elbow room between players, close proximity to kitchen and snacks, and while we were playing the game, it worked well. But as you may have seen on this channel, I tend to have a lot of bits in my games. Beyond just minis and battle maps, I use character sheets with cards, large hex maps and world maps, terrains for spotlight battles, a computer for my campaign notes and music, dice, tokens, lots of parts to move back and forth from my office to the dining room. Of course, you can run a perfectly fine and fun game of D&D without all that. You can, and I have, but I kind of don't want to. I like all those physical bits. I like feeling like I have all the tools I need at hand to create a more tactile experience on the fly. But setting up and tearing down my game space at the dining room table could take over an hour. So I daydreamed about what it might be like to have one of those cool dedicated game rooms with like the recess table and the electronic maps and the dragon head mounted on the wall. But all that stuff's expensive, and not everybody even has the extra space to set it all up. I'm lucky. For my day job, I'm able to work from home, and we have an extra room in our house that I use as an office. It isn't that big if it's a desk and stores a bunch of game stuff, certainly not as big as our dining room, and our dining room table couldn't even fit in there. But that's what I had to work with, so slowly I started planning out how to make it all work. Oh, and I had to do it on the cheap. I know on the cheap probably means different things to different people. For me, it meant spending not much more than a couple $1,000s. And that still sounds like a lot, right? But this is in a world where a game table alone, without chairs, can easily put you over that. To me, that actually still sounds like a lot of money. But it's for a room we intend to use at least once a week, often more than that, and we'll use it for years to come. I'm also justifying it by saying it's supporting an after-school program that might be able to make some money in the future. We'll see. Oh, and I still have to use this space as a work-from-home office. That was the challenge. I'll throw out some estimated prices along the way and a bunch of links in the description below, but this won't be one of those shopping list style videos with numbers running along the side of the screen. That would be cool, but I don't know how to do that yet. You might find things at different prices, or maybe some of the stuff I found won't be available anymore, and you'll probably find some cool stuff that I haven't seen yet. I just wanted to give you a feel for how I was able to piece it together. Blah, blah, blah. What does it look like, Justin? Well, here's version 1. I call it version 1 because, of course, not everything went as planned. The main wrinkle in that plan was the game table. You know, the centerpiece of the game room. The main thing you need to play D&D. I found a Kickstarter that offered an affordable game table with all kinds of cool features, like a recess play area, and a removable tabletop, and integrated dice trays, cup holders, all the cool stuff. I'd show it to you, but it's about 8 months late based on their estimated delivery date. I don't want to give them a hard time, that's not what this channel's about. I just bring it up because I had to come up with a creative and cheap alternative. My future table cost about $800, but this one costs less than half of that. It's a 6-foot-long folding table, like the kind you might drag out of storage as the kids' table during big family dinners. I dressed it up a bit with a fitted black cover. Both of those together cost about $70. But then I also added a folding gaming table topper for another $200. It's meant more for like poker night, but it has a nice feel and these built-in trays. I'd say cup holders, but they're only like this deep. This is a table we'll be sitting around for hours at a time, so I wanted to invest in some thick padded chairs to go with it. I found this set of 6 for about another $300. I may go over how my electronic map and music system works in another video, but long story short, I'll round up the computer and the screens for about another $1,000. Which of course you don't really need, but it's pretty sweet and it adds something unique as a selling point to my after-school program. I was able to decorate the room with a lot of stuff I'd collected over the years as a gamer. Posters that were gathering dust in the closet, maps and minis from different campaigns, and other geek stuff that you buy because it's cool, but you don't really know what to do with it later. There are a few pieces that I'll spotlight, though, that I think really add some polish to the room. The first one is this wall map. It's big, impressive, and useful. This one is of the Forgotten Realms, which was originally printed as inserts in a series of Dragon magazines back in the day. It's 4 separate maps that piece together. I was able to find them on eBay for about $25 each, so for a total of $100. I have a similar set for the Greyhawk world if that's more your thing. Depending on the color of your wall, they can kind of blend in a bit and not pop out as much. So I first added a series of these adhesive wall panels that frames the map and gives you room to add some extra gamer bling. I ended up using 30 of those panels, which was about $70. They just stick to the wall. There's kind of a chemical smell when you first put them up, but that eventually goes away. It did take a couple of weeks though. Instead of using push pins to mount the map, I found these magnetic pins that just kind of hold the map in place. Probably not really needed, unless you're like me and stabbing holes in your maps makes your teeth itch. Those were $10 for 20 pins. In addition to that, I have another map that we can use to zoom in on a more detailed view of the Sword Coast, which is where I've been running most of my campaigns. This is actually a retractable display like you might see at conventions or trade shows. You can have them custom printed, and years ago Wizards provided a high-resolution map of the Forgotten Realms for personal use. Link below. The prices on these displays vary, so if you want to make one yourself, I'd shop around a bit. I think mine cost under $100. This mounted whiteboard on the back of my door gets a lot of use. It's magnetic, so you can use it to display more maps or images. In this case, I'm also using it as a quest board for my Keep on the Borderlands campaign. And it's also great for drawing maps or pictures on the fly. And of course, the required mounted dragon's head. There's bigger and more impressive ones out there, but this one fits nicely above the table, and I found these cool, inexpensive dice swords to help flesh out the space. So if you don't count my temporary game table, which has been working great by the way, I'd say I probably blew past my $2,000 target by probably another $1,000, but that includes the electronic map system and some of the more extravagant decorations. Storage is tight, much less than I used to have, and it really helps me prioritize what are the most useful things I need in the room to plan and run a game. This little side table is key for staging things like miniatures or terrain to bring out during the game. It even has its own GM screen. Oh right, and this tiny corner is where I work now. It used to be the closet for this room. Priorities, I guess. One thing I think I learned along the way, after playing in this space for about half a year now, is that it grows organically, and it tells a story as you and your players add to it. I might have even over-decorated it initially, and it might have been better to leave some blank space to fill later with stuff from the game group. That said, I love this room. Even when we aren't gaming in here, it just inspires me to be in this space. I stare at the maps and the table and imagine all the great stories still left to be told. I know I'm lucky to have it, even if it's not really studio quality, and I'm thankful I was able to pull it off. Now let's work on version 2 together. Do you have a game space? Do you dream of a game space? What would you do differently? Leave a comment and click a thumb to help continue the conversation.